It feels like video games are dying, and these are the companies and practices that are killing them. Hey friends, it's Just the Gems. I'm Brandon, and the video game industry feels like it's in a tailspin. Every week there's some new news about layoffs or studio closures or game cancellations. We're seeing a paradigm-shifting loss of creative talent in the video game industry right now, with so many skilled people losing their jobs, not being able to find new ones in this hellscape of a job market, and turning to other trades just to make ends meet. That means fewer potential video games in the future, and it means the ones we get just aren't going to be as good. There are a lot of reasons why this is happening, and I want to talk about at least some of them. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because, in my opinion, JRPGs are the genre that will suffer the most from all these negative changes. Let's get into it. Okay, let's get the most recent and obvious one out of the way right up front. Sony killing physical media for the PlayStation family of systems is a massive blow to video gaming. Our rights as consumers to own the things that we buy have been eroding for years, and this is the biggest and most painful shot to the gut we've been given yet. Sony's thought process is actually pretty straightforward, even if it is misguided. They currently are unable to view a physical sale as a positive. Instead of seeing the money made from a physical sale, they only see the potential revenue lost. That's because they make a significantly higher percentage on a digital sale, anywhere from double to more than 3 times as much, depending on the game and whether or not it's a first-party title. So if Sony sells me a physical copy of The Last of Us Part 2 remastered on the PlayStation 5, and I'm the sort of sucker that will keep buying The Last of Us games no matter how many times they re-release them, then Sony's looking at around $20 in profit. If they somehow convince me to buy that $60 game digitally, they make $60. Now look, this is like sub back of the napkin math level stuff I'm doing right here. You can figure this stuff out with a lot more specificity if you want to, but I'm just trying to illustrate the larger point. My purchase of the physical copy of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is a negative for Sony because it basically guarantees I will never buy the digital version of that game. What could have been a $60 sale was instead a $20 sale. And this isn't some sort of good that I need to keep replenishing. Physical games that are kept in good condition will last for basically forever. It's not going to break down and need replacing in a couple of years. They're locked out of that bigger sale from me forever. This, I believe, is legitimately the sole reason Sony is killing physical media. It's not in response to consumer trends. If they valued physical consumers, they would want to continue providing a product for them. Instead, they're willing to lose a big portion of their consumer base because they believe the increase in digital sales will more than make up for it. And in 3, 5, maybe 7 years, us physical holdouts will be used to the brave new digital world, and we'll come crawling back to pick up a PS6 Pro for $2,000 in order to play The Last of Us Part 1 and 2 Ultra 8K remastered digitally. You can see Ellie's pores in that version. It's actually pretty gross. Those people in that world don't get to bathe all that often. It's an apocalypse. But Sony's big miscalculation is in thinking that their digital-only ecosystem is good enough to keep the vast majority of their customer base. When the PS6 launches for $999 for the model with 1 terabyte of storage, or $1299 for the 2 terabyte model, people are going to look at that box, look at a comparably powerful PC that both plays games and does everything else, and they're going to buy a PC. Sure, it might cost a bit more than a high-end PS6, but people can do these sorts of cost-benefit analyses in their heads pretty easily. PC is a better digital platform than PS6 will be. For one thing, PC has a multitude of different digital storefronts, meaning there is actual competition. For another thing, you can purchase digital games that you actually, really, truly own from places like Good Old Games. And for a third thing, if I want to, I can take those DRM-free games and I can put them on a Blu-ray or on a thumb drive and create my own freaking physical copy of the game if I want to. Those are a few reasons PC is better. There are also reasons why PlayStation is worse. Account security, for one. There have been numerous hacks over the years that have exposed PlayStation customer information and have brought down the PlayStation network. No network equals no download. Sure, some games in your library might still be playable. Maybe the software did the handshake with the servers recently enough that Sony's confident you actually should have access to that game. But some games won't be, at least not until the network comes back. Also, it costs money to play online, if that's important to you. Also, Sony can absolutely rip games out of your library at any time and for any reason. Now, they're definitely not incentivized to do that. I don't think it's going to start happening all willy-nilly or whatever, but it can and it will happen. If the future of PlayStation is digital, if the future of all games is digital, then there's no need for PlayStation in my life. So having said all that, where does that leave me as a JRPG player? Well, in particular, it leaves me without the physical editions I collect and love. JRPG players, especially us OG ones from way back in the day, we grew up with something of a scarcity mindset. There just weren't a ton of JRPGs, so when we got our hands on a new one, it was super important we keep it safe in our collections. You can call it hoarding, or maybe call me a pack rat if you're feeling a little more whimsical than mean. But it's an instinct that has been carefully developed over many years. So yeah, not being able to put these games I love on my shelf anymore is going to make me sad. Full stop. I'm still going to play games. I'm never going to stop doing that. I'm not purely a shelf collector, and I don't mean any shade to shelf collectors. That's fine, that's just not my thing. But the actual Sony digital game situation probably won't affect the games we play too much. Sony has stopped catering to JRPG players with first-party content these days. They used to have like Wild Arms and Legend of Dragoon, remember those? But they haven't done anything JRPG related in a long time. They're chasing the live service money right now, and that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. Let them do it, I say. They're dead to me. And I know some people are happy about Nintendo at least giving us game key cards, but those are just physical keys to a fully digital game. I don't want that either, it sucks. Just wanted to get that jab in there. I'm not just a Sony hater, I apparently hate everyone. Speaking of everyone. Microsoft has done more damage to the video game industry than I think any other company. That's kind of a bold statement, but it's true. In some ways, they increased the user base of games. Now it wasn't just nerds who play video games, but their high school bullies could join in on the fun too. Very cool that they thought to reach out to the underrepresented bully demographic. Those dudes love Halo and Gears of War and whatever the hell else. Nah, I'm kidding. Lots of great people love Halo and Gears of War. I actually enjoy the story of Halo quite a bit. I didn't play it myself. I watched my friend play through the whole series because I'm a little nerd and he's a cool jock. But you get the point. Microsoft came along, made some cool stuff, and offered a Western-centric approach to video games. We hadn't had that since Atari, which didn't end well if you recall your video game history, but Microsoft had essentially bottomless wells full of money. Wells full of money? Am I just making up nonsense analogies now? Get it together, man. Xbox had the benefit of not needing to make money, at least not for a long time, because its parent company was richer than God. After the original Xbox, they came at us with the Xbox 360, and here's where they made their first timid attempt at wooing both Japanese audiences and JRPG players. They worked out some banger exclusive JRPGs on that console. Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon, Tales of Vesperia. They really wanted to capture the role-playing players. I'm not sure how successful that particular endeavor was, but it can't have been too successful because once the next Xbox console came along, they had basically given up on the genre and on the entire nation of Japan. This was going to be a Western console for Western players. And honestly, that's okay. No one said they had to give me stuff I like. I can get it from other companies. I bring all that history up just to point out that Microsoft has never been top of mind for me, outside of their brief flirtation with JRPGs. But unfortunately, these days, it's impossible to ignore them. This is because they've started to get desperate. Remember those bottomless wells of money I mentioned? Turns out, even if there isn't a literal bottom to those wells, upper management at Microsoft is thinking about cutting off the supply if the brand doesn't start to become profitable. In a last-ditch effort before their access to the money got cut off, Xbox leadership tried buying 1 million game studios. Big, small, it didn't matter. If a company made games, Xbox wanted to own them. They told these companies, don't worry about profitability, just make amazing games. Make critically acclaimed games that will drive people to subscribe to Game Pass. Companies did exactly that. The problem was, Microsoft at large didn't seem too keen on the Xbox strategy. There's been a pretty constant stream of layoffs coming from Xbox studios, despite their studios putting out some incredible and critically acclaimed games, just like they were instructed to do. I can't emphasize enough just how crazy it is for the company to tell these studios, make whatever you want, just keep pumping out cool games, and for that same company to then turn around and reward those studios with layoffs and closures. Now, of course, the immediate effects of this sort of thing don't really impact JRPG players all that much. Xbox has never been a primarily JRPG-friendly brand, but their actions do have a big impact on the industry at large. By cutting so many game developers loose right now, while simultaneously shrinking the number of studios and games being made, Microsoft is essentially stranding a bunch of talented game developers in unemployment without a viable path to a new job in the industry. Many laid-off game devs have tried for months or even years to get a new job in the industry with no luck. Talented people who still have a lot to offer, nothing. So a lot of those people are giving up. They're taking non-game dev jobs. That is pure, raw talent that's just being funneled out of the industry. And that can and will impact JRPG fans. These former devs might love JRPGs, and if they wound up at the right studio, they might develop RPGs inspired by the Japanese games they love. But if they're working in IT for Facebook or something, those games aren't going to be made. Microsoft has killed off more video game development talent than any company in history, and it's impossible to pretend like our hobby is better because of Microsoft. Raise your hand if you're getting sick of all this AI bullcrap. AI is going to revolutionize everything. It's going to make our lives so much easier and better, but only if we're willing to put up with a mountain of inconvenience or even outright detriment for an indeterminate amount of time. You might lose your job because some CEO thinks he can save a little bit of money by automating your role. He's wrong, and that AI is going to suck at doing what you do, but he doesn't know that yet. So you lose your income. That's a worst case scenario, for sure. But there are other ways AI is ruining things, particularly for us as gamers. The biggest problem it's causing is the fact that it's making the hobby so freaking expensive. You know about RAM prices by now. You know that prices for vital computer components have increased by crazy amounts in the last year or so, and they're looking like they're going to keep increasing in the future. If you think this is only going to impact PC gamers, well, you haven't been paying attention. But I'm sure most of you are well aware of this. The prices for consoles are already going up. For the first time in history, consoles are getting midlife cycle price increases. That is truly unprecedented. Seriously, is there any precedent for this? I don't think there's a precedent for this. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comments, but regardless, it's not something that happens often, right? I don't think it's happened ever. But the PS5 Pro is going up, the Xbox Series is going up, the Nintendo Switch 2 is going up. The latter explicitly because of the tariffs, in large part anyway, but Nintendo did get all that money back from the government. The price is still going up though, because screw us, right? The components necessary to play games on PC and console are going to get so expensive, they will price many of us completely out of the hobby. What does that mean for us as JRPG fans? Well, I can't speak for everyone, but I know I, for one, will be more than happy to start making my way through my massive backlog of games. Our games take dozens and dozens of hours to finish, and we've gotten a wealth of fantastic games over the last couple of decades. So many that there are legitimate bangers out there that I just haven't played, or at least haven't finished. Metaphor, ReFantazio, most of the Atelier games, indie games like Chained Echoes. The list goes on and on and on. And speaking of indie games, my hope is that we'll start to see a lot of small indie projects that can run on current hardware without issue, and that those games will fill the new game gap for us. I might have a video about the issue of lower powered hardware helping us JRPG fans out here in the near future, so make sure you're subscribed so you can check that out. But anyway, AI is too expensive, and the only people who are going to benefit from it, at least for the foreseeable future, are people who are already super wealthy. It sucks. Moving on. This is an issue that I think will have some nasty short-term consequences and will require a lot of reconfiguring on the parts of studios and publishers, but it's not an issue that I think will be here for a long time. I'm talking about AI being used in place of laid-off developers. These studios and publishers are driven by the same profit-mindedness that any big companies are, so they're looking at the promised capabilities of AI with dollar signs in their eyes. They'll continue to lay off developers and try to have a skeleton crew conduct a bunch of AI bots to build their games. It will definitely fail because game development requires creativity, and AI at best can create a poor facsimile of creativity. But that will only become apparent when a wave of AI-developed games comes out and gets lampooned by the gaming press and the public alike. It will be the first real time that average gamers and the gaming press will be fully on the same side of an issue. Even AI optimists won't be able to defend these games very well. They'll try for a bit, I'm sure. Like, oh, look how impressive it is, though. Like, considering no humans made it. Cool, right? Like, sure. But that's the problem with AI as it is today. It's a party trick. It's interesting to watch an image suddenly become animated in weird, uncanny ways. People might ooh and ah over that for a minute or two. But we've never spent so much money, wasted so much human potential via layoffs to get so little of substance in return. I worry this will impact JRPG fans quite a lot, actually. Japanese developers seem surprisingly optimistic about AI's uses in game development. In the beginning, I think Japanese publishers might just try using it for localization. The one I'm most worried about as a Trails and East fan is Falcom. I suspect they might try and AI translate like Kyoto Xanadu and self-publish it in the West. If that still manages to sell well, it will basically grant them carte blanche in their minds to move forward with AI, and maybe it then starts to make its way into the actual development process. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm misreading Japanese developers' enthusiasm for the tech, but out of all genres, I feel like JRPGs have the most to lose. Our games are so much more focused on story and character development, two things that really require human beings to create. Machines don't develop as people, they're just not equipped to tell stories the way we are. I really hope I'm off base, but I don't know, I think it might happen. This last one is already happening a ton, and I don't see it getting better anytime soon. Gamers, traditionally as a group, have not done the best job of advocating for ourselves. This is because video game companies discovered something really vital very early on. If they turn the industry into essentially a team sport, then we will all choose sides. And like any big fan of any team that someone has invested countless time and money into, we would sooner die than admit our team were losers. The console wars were great for Nintendo and Sega and Sony and Microsoft because once they got us on their side, we were locked in. Most households didn't have the money for multiple consoles, and the only way to avoid cognitive dissonance was to go whole hog into supporting yours. Even after we grew up and could theoretically afford multiple consoles, that tribalism never really went away. Each new change your console of choice made, you had to be on board with it, because if you disagreed, if you thought what they were doing was stupid and harmful to you, then didn't that mean you were stupid for having supported them all along? The last thing any of us wants to do, even on a subliminal level, is admit that we were wrong. Naturally, that leads to a lot of infighting. Instead of seeing ourselves for what we are, namely a collective purchasing group that theoretically should have a lot of power over the companies who are supposed to be serving our interests, we see ourselves as soldiers in a battle to defend our homeland from people who not only wish for our destruction, but worse, want to hurt our feelings. The worst possible offense known to man. So we'll say, hey, Nintendo Switch 2 game keycards aren't so bad. At least Nintendo has given us something we can resell. Or who cares that Sony's getting rid of physical games? I don't play physical. There can't possibly be any repercussions for me. Or, oh, a bunch of game developers got laid off. Boo-hoo. Why should I care about that? I only play Call of Duty and John Madden. Instead of banding together to make our voices heard, we turn our voices on each other. The upcoming boycott of Sony has a lot riding on it. If enough people truly commit, there's a chance they'll at least hear us, on that issue anyway. But that doesn't fix the rest of the problems, and unfortunately for us, these problems are all nested within each other. Fixing one doesn't fix the others. We have to change a whole lot about our behavior, both towards each other and when it comes to our purchasing decisions. For me, for example, I'm committed to never purchasing a game keycard for my Nintendo Switch 2. And aside from a few games I have on pre-order, I'm not looking to buy any more games for my PlayStation 5, at least not at retail. I'll buy them used, sure, but I'm not cutting Sony in on that deal. Now, are there some games I might break that last rule for? Sure, it's possible. Everyone has a hierarchy of wants, just like they have a hierarchy of needs. Plus, I'm imperfect, and my commitment to the cause is going to be imperfect. But that's okay. Do the best that you can do. The most important thing we can do, though, as a collective is to stop pointing fingers at each other. Have calm and rational conversations as often as possible. Try and understand other people's points of view. Most people are not acting in bad faith outside of online grifters, and those are pretty easy to spot. Most people have legitimate reasons for doing the things they do and buying the things they buy. Try and understand that. You don't have to agree. You can even fervently disagree. But if we can lower the temperature and be kind to each other, we have a much better chance of making this entire hobby a better place again. Anyway, that's all. Just needed to get all that out there. Hope it doesn't come across as too negative. I try and be positive, but there's just a lot going wrong right now. And we need to be together on this stuff. If you're interested in podcasts about JRPGs, please check out mine. It's called the JRPG Pursuit, and we put out new episodes every single week. With that, I guess I'll just catch you guys next time. Bye.